Hey guys, KP Jax here. Today we're taking a look at the 5.8 gigahertz first-person viewer for a quad rotor drone. And I got this, and what's in the box to start with is a screen, a battery, an antenna, a charger, and a few accessories like a mounting bracket and some screws. I got this because I wanted to see what my drone was seeing when it got really far away from me. You know, it was kind of hard to really understand what your camera was looking at. So I picked up this kit. It was like $50 online, and I'll post the link below. But this gives you several different options for channels. It has a 4-inch screen, 600-meter range. So, you know, you're getting that distance that you need, and it goes along with the distance that your drone can go. They use a 5.8 channel setup because you get less interference from ground noise. So, you know, things like radios or nearby phones or different things like that that run on the 2.4 gigahertz may interfere a little bit with your controller, but it won't interfere with the video, so you still get great video. 2.5 can go further, but 5.8 is a better interface for video. And as you can see, you know, in this box was this camera. It says it shoots 720p, which is great compared to the other camera that I had, so hopefully it shows up better. This has a planar antenna. You can look up the differences in antennas and stuff. I was just doing some reading on them. It comes with a dual charger, so it's a USB charger, one for the battery and one for the screen, or, you know, one for the camera, one for the screen. Now, the great thing about this kit is the camera is actually a self-contained battery. So it's not drawing power like the previous camera was. It's not drawing its power from the battery of the remote or of the drone. So it has its own battery. Also, the video screen has its own battery as well. So all of the power that's going to be used, you know, there's a slight tiny weight difference in the camera from this kit versus the camera from the new kit. So, you know, that little tiny few ounces, you know, it does make a difference on these little tiny quad rotors. But the benefit is that the power for the battery is strictly used for the drone, and the camera has its own power. Now, the camera does still plug into the drone. However, it's strictly for control as far as video. So strictly for controlling the video camera interface to make sure that the the radio control can talk to the drone at the same time that it can talk to the camera. So you can trigger the camera to start recording or take pictures. So this kit took about 10 minutes to install. At first I was kind of intimidated. It's my first one. I thought I was going to have to take the controller apart, but you don't. You take 2 screws out of the top right behind the antenna, at least on this remote, and mine just came with a pretty inexpensive remote by Sima, I'm not really sure how you pronounce it. And there's 2 screws up near the quote-unquote antenna. You take those off, and you take the mounting bracket, and it has 2 nubs on it, and you basically insert those into the screw holes. And then you'll see that there are 2 much larger screws, and you use those to mount the bracket together, to seal it together. And then once you do that, on top of the screen, when you've attached it, that's where you insert the new planar array or planar antenna. Once you do that, you just use your fingers and you pop open the screen. It's got these neat little sun catchers, I guess you would call that. It blocks the sun from blanking out your screen or whitening it out, because everybody knows with tablets and other electronic devices, they are horrible with video out in the sunlight, unless you have a Kindle. But I don't see any video receivers or anything like that going to, you know, the same technology that Kindle used, because it'd be horrible. So, but as you can see from the screen, all I did was turn on the camera and I turned on the video screen, and it starts recording. There's a few second delay. It's not very much. You want to make sure that on the camera and on the back of the screen that the dip switches match. So there's different dip switches to transmit your signal. There's 5.8 megahertz and 5.745, 5.86 5.8, 4.5, and 5.8, 2.5 megahertz. So it really just depends on what channel you want to transmit on. The first thing we're going to do before we hook this up to the drone, though, is we're going to charge it. It came with a slightly charged battery. I was able to turn the device on, so obviously they QA it before it leaves. Once you get the battery charged, the next thing you want to do is change the camera off of my current drone. So on my current drone, it's fairly simple. You unplug the battery, pull off the battery cover. The battery cover doubles as the mounting plate on the X5C one. It doubles as the mounting plate for the camera. So there's only 2 screws to pull off there. So once you get that taken off, all you're going to do is take the mounting bracket that came in the kit. You're going to line up the holes, and you're going to use the same screws and screw it back in. Now, I used some double-sided tape under the bracket, and that was before I actually noticed that the camera that came with this has an adjustable angle lens, which is awesome. Most cheaper drones like this, the cameras are in a fixed position, and you end up getting more of a downward angle from where you're actually flying. But the camera in this allows you to adjust it, so it's straight ahead. So that's why I had the double-sided tape on there from before. A really cheap mod to change the angle of your camera. But this camera, you can actually change the angle right there. You just change it on the side, up, down, straight, which is awesome. So once I got that back on, the next thing to do is to put it back on. And it goes on the exact same way. You just insert your mount back onto the camera and plug in the battery, and you're good to go. That's really it. And what I love is there's no extra wires, no extra crazy modification that you have to do to the drone or to the camera to get it to work. And it was very inexpensive. It was $50. It right now it has great video, and we'll post that. I'm going to post a new video of the drone flying, especially since I don't crash it into the house anymore, which is great. So we'll take it out to a local park and we'll fly it around. Once you get the camera plugged in, you are good to go to fly. Take your drone outside and light it up. Make sure you guys like this video. Leave me some comments. Let me know other things that you want to see and hear. Share the video. That is definitely a major thing. And the biggest of all, subscribe. When you subscribe, YouTube will send you an email every time that I upload a video. Thanks, and have a great night.